Hey guys, this is Natasha, and today I want to talk a little bit about the HOA resale packet that every homeowner needs to order from their association, just when they're getting ready to put their house on the market and the importance of it. So, I this video is a little more educational, I would say, but it's also really, really informative. So, the purpose of an HOA packet or resale packet is, first, it only applies to neighborhoods that have HOA, of course. And every community is different. There are certain communities that, like, the HOA is, strict, and you have to find, you have to follow a certain requirement or meet a certain standard. And others are, more lenient. They do have standards and they may be, strict on some things. But like I said, every community is different. But the main purpose of it is to be sure that the exterior of the home matches and fits the neighborhood that you're living in, and it fits the standard of the neighborhood prior to selling. So let's say, hypothetically, if you're supposed to have a certain color fence or style in your neighborhood, or a certain door color, then let's say you're supposed to have a red door, okay? And let's say if your red door it's still red, but it's just a little washed out, and it's not looking to the way the HOA wants it to look, then they may come back with a violation in the HOA packet. And then the seller would need to either power wash, replace, or repair, just bringing it to the neighborhood standard. So basically, I really want to get into this right now because it's such a hot time in real estate, and it's also a seller's market. And it's just, the market is really, really hot. So for those of you that are thinking about selling your house, I think this is a really good piece of information in case you didn't already know about it. The process is really simple. All you would need to do is go onto your HOA website, or you can give them a call, and you basically order it on the website. And it does have to be ordered by the seller. So it has to be, it's like a requirement for the seller to give the purchaser the HOA resale packet. It's a purchaser's right to have it as well, because obviously the person that's buying your house, they want to know, what they're buying. And if there are violations on that house, it's just, it's to protect the buyer, and it's a requirement for the seller. So I want to go over, like, when in the transaction does the seller order this resale packet. Some sellers order it right when they put their house on the market, just so that they can be on the safe side. And, in case it does come back with, like, some violations or a violation, that way they'll have that time to take care of it. And when they go back to the HOA and say, hey, we took care of it, then, they'll pretty much be good to go, and nothing would really stop or prevent them from going to settlement. So many people, however, many homeowners, many sellers, they wait until they receive an offer and until their property is fully under contract. Then they'll order the HOA resale packet. And here's the thing. And this is another main reason why I wanted to talk about this, because I just think it's really important. I was in this situation with a seller, and, the buyer just has so many rights that protect them. And I thought it was interesting, and I just wanted to go over a few of them real quick. So the purchaser can cancel the contract within 3 days after receiving the packet, or even if they're being notified that the packet will not be available, the purchaser can void this contract, period. And many people don't know that. So I think, it's a very good piece of information that I just wanted to share. Some of the possible outcomes of this and, the importance of this is that if there are violations on the property, the seller can still sell their home, but the purchaser has to agree in writing that they are willing to move forward to settlement without the violations being taken care of. So that's also one of the possible outcomes. Another way is, let's say the seller receives their packet and there are no violations, meaning that, the buyer and seller can just proceed to settlement with no issue. That's like best case scenario. And it does happen. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I'm just, like I always do, go over the pros and the cons. So let's say the seller receives the resale packet and there are violations on it. So there are some things that can happen here. Okay, the seller could repair, resolve, or replace the violation, or replace whatever needs to be corrected in order to remove that violation so that they can move forward to settlement. Okay? Number two is that the buyer and seller can agree to move forward to settlement without the seller meeting the HOA requirements, like I said before. Number three, if the seller fails to order this packet, or if the seller doesn't receive it, or let's say the seller just simply forgets to notify the buyer that the packet is going to be late, or if they don't have it, if the seller just fails to even notify the buyer can void this contract at any time before settlement, obviously. So another thing that can happen is if the seller and buyer agree to move forward to settlement, so long as the seller updates the violations, and if the seller fails to do what he promised, the buyer again has the right to void at any given time. So I just thought that this was very, very interesting, informative, and it's something I think a lot of homeowners need to know if they don't know already. But typically most homeowners are pretty aware of their HOA situation when they're living in a home for a while. So, I just wanted to share that because you could possibly lose someone that's interested in buying your house just because you're not, as a seller, being on top of this, or if you are not, wanting to fix anything. So, I think this is really important if you want to put your house on the market. And I think it's important to do it as soon as possible. And the reason I say that is because what if, like, you're in a situation and, there are violations and you do need to make these repairs? Like, what if you're running out of time? You know what I mean? Like, let's say you're supposed to go to settlement in 3 weeks or 2 weeks, and let's say you have to take care of a big deal, like let's say you have to replace the entire fence or something like that. So you need to, as a homeowner, as a seller, kind of do this in a timely manner so that you don't run out of time and so that it won't delay the process, if that makes sense. So I know I kind of in a nutshell went over this, but if you guys have any questions, or if I went too fast, or if you're not understanding, feel free to give me a call, text, or you can send me a message on Facebook. And my phone number is 703-478-4760. And I hope that this video was informative and somewhat, it's definitely educational, but I hope you guys were able to gain something out of it. So I hope you guys all have a terrific Memorial Day weekend. Take care and have a great day.